Alright, so this is my fanfiction idea for a series I called Chaos Theory. Now, Chaos Theory is essentially kind of like, I was thinking of it as Marvel's Doomsday Clock, in a way. Where, with Doomsday Clock, it's a crossover between Watchmen and the DC Universe, but with Chaos Theory, it's a Marvel Gravity Falls crossover. And, yeah, this was kind of been my idea, and that was kind of the idea of, yeah, what if Gravity Falls ended up in the Marvel Universe? And it's not like, oh, we've always been here, you know, we've always been part of the Marvel Universe, but we've stayed out of it. It's more like, no, we've essentially ended up here. And I was thinking of how this story would go, and it's Gravity Falls versus the entire Marvel Universe. And you're already thinking to yourself, but DPZ, why would they go after the Marvel Universe? Well, sit down and I'll tell you. So the story begins with the Avengers essentially hearing about this group called Pines Enterprises, which is a new company that has just suddenly shown up out of nowhere, that is coming out of Portland, Oregon. And Tony especially is like, okay, I've never heard of these people, and who the hell are they? You know, where did this company out of the Northwest just show up out of nowhere and essentially just wreck, you know, starting to, you know, get this much money, you know? They're making all these deals, they're making all the, you know, they're actually, like, buying stock out of Oscorp right now, and they're weakening my company on purpose. So, thinking everything's not on the up and up, Tony pays them a visit, and he's like, hey, what's up? I want to see this mysterious boss, because that's the other thing, is that the Pines Enterprises boss isn't, you know, he doesn't show himself. And Tony's already like, oh, mysterious boss I've never heard of, likes to be shadowy and all that? Well, that's not, you know, disturbing at all. I'll just go say hi, because I'm Iron Man, I can do that. So he goes and says hi to everyone. He's like, well, I want to meet your boss, and I'm Iron Man, and if I want something, I can go in there and get it. So either either we can do this civil, or I can gear up right now and come back, because you guys don't sound like you're on the up and up. And he's met by Wendy, who's pretty much like, look, my boss is not, if you just came in here to threaten us as Iron Man, what gives you the right that my boss is going to just let you do this? And Tony's like, oh, well, you just came out of nowhere. And he's like, so what if we came out of nowhere? We grew fast. And we're buying stock from Oscorp. And from you. That's how business works. And if anything, I thought you would be cool with Oscorp, using some legs. So Iron Man's like, oh, well, I'll just go right back then. But I'm watching you. And Wendy's like, all right, bye. But in the meantime, it turns out that, yeah, Mason, aka Dipper, is pretty much the head of Pines Enterprises, and what they've been essentially doing is buying all this stuff and also they've been manufacturing weapons for the government. They've been manufacturing these new weapons that they've essentially stolen from all these fights with the Avengers and whatnot, from alien encounters and whatnot. And it was also, like, retrofitting other weapons to, like, other governments. Everything legit, like, other governments. But they're not doing it on the books. Like, a lot of it's unsanctioned. And that's how they're making a lot of their money, and they got a lot of that money from Pacifica and the Northwest Fortune. That's how they started out. And you're thinking, well, why do they want to start a business? Because now, with the stuff they've bought from Oscorp, they also got certain properties as well. Some off-the-book stuff. They got access to goblin tech. So now they have weapons that they can use and start building their own little goblin army. And they're just like, well, we're going to be using this not only just to sell on to the highest bidder in the government, but we're also going to be using this to we're going to make a public announcement to piss off everybody, especially the superheroes. But the government's still going to buy from us. They're going to want that goblin tech, and maybe we'll get some of that goblin formula. And you're probably wondering, well, why doesn't Norman Osborn stand in to do something about it? Well, this kind of takes place after Spider-Man number 800, and I was kind of thinking that, yeah, Harry's kind of stepped in, and he's like, I want to get out of my father's shadow, So here, take all this shit. Take it. Take the shit. Take this shit. And also, you know, the whole thing with Red Goblin probably didn't help either. So they kind of need like a buyer right now to take a lot of their stuff. So now they have a control. Now Mason has a lot of control in and has a lot of say in Oscorp as well. So he's pretty much like, you know, this is going to be so much fun to really fuck with the heroes. And you're probably asking yourself, so why are they going? So why does the people of Gravity Falls really hate the Marvel Universe? Why are they going out to get the Marvel Universe? Simply put, they're the reason their universe is destroyed. Let me explain. So, pretty much, remember when we were building up to Secret Wars and everything that ensued after? Well, what happened was that when the build-up for Secret Wars was going on, there were a lot of incursions, and the Illuminati, led by Stark, were essentially blowing up planets. At first it was uninhabitable or, you know, dead worlds, so they were cool with it. But as more incursions came in, they had to make some calls and blow up other planets until eventually Secret Wars happened. And one of those worlds that had to be destroyed during the incursions was the universe that Gravity Falls came from. So as their world was going to be destroyed, and yeah, the other thing was that Ford and everyone else knew that it was like, oh shit, our world's gonna get blown the fuck up, but there's nothing we can do about it. So, frantically, they rebuilt the portal and used it to more or less only manage to save Gravity Falls, the entire town and everything in it, from the destruction of their world. And keep in mind, this is after the end of Gravity Falls, so Bill's gone. Maybe get to that in a moment. But yeah, the world of Gravity Falls is just destroyed. You know, the world around it is destroyed. Dipper and Mabel's parents are gone. Friends and family outside. That entire world, everything outside of Gravity Falls is gone. And they're the only piece left. And during the whole Secret Wars event, they were kind of put outside of it. What happened was, when the incursion destroyed their world, they were thrown into this kind of like pocket universe, this little pocket universe they escaped into. And it's been like a little bubble in the 616 universe, just existing outside of it. And they couldn't, you know, they were stuck in like a limbo hell, more or less. They were stuck in there for a good little while. They didn't age, they didn't, you know, they felt hungry but they couldn't eat. They, just a living hell they were in. But however, this did give them the chance to, because they were just outside the Marvel Universe, in this little pocket universe, this gave them a chance to be the outside looking in the Marvel Universe. So they got a good look of who blew up their world. They got a good look at Stark, Richards, T'Challa, Namor, Beast, Black Bolt, and got a good look at what the Marvel Universe had become. And they are like, what the shit is wrong with these people? First off, you know, the goddamn Illuminati's out of their fucking minds. They couldn't figure out a better way to to save our world? Fine, fuck you. But then you've got what the hell's up with this Captain America guy? Why is he with Hydra? And Spider-Man? He made a deal with the devil? What the fuck? And not to mention all the other fucked up shit I'm looking at right now. So they saw everything, and all they could think about is, we are going to fuck these guys so hard when we find a way to get out of here. And you're probably thinking, well, yeah, they're not, but DPZ, they're not bad guys. The people of Gravity Falls aren't bad guys. They're not good either. That's true, they're not good either. I mean, they've done, even in the show, you guys gotta agree with me that Dipper and Stan and everyone else did some fucked up shit on occasion. And they're totally cool with it. Hell, in the Choose Your Own Adventure story, Dipper and Mabel go to an alternate timeline in the 20s to become big shot gangsters. That happens. So yeah, they're not bad people, but they're not good people either. And I would imagine if a group of people who called themselves superheroes blew up their planet without even so much as a, hey, we're sorry, we're gonna do this, or try to save everyone on that planet, it's more like, bye, blam. Yeah, they'd be pissed off. So more or less, Dipper organized this whole group, and he actually calls the group the Hellfire Club, with him establishing himself as the Black King, with Wendy as the Black Queen, Mabel as the Black Knight, Stan and Ford as the Black Bishop and Black Rook, respectively, and Seuss as the Black Pawn. And everyone else is just like, oh, we're all just, okay, you guys are the Hellfire Club, alright. And their whole plan is to get enough money, and at the same time antagonize the superheroes with all these little, these little games and whatnot, until they pull off their ultimate scheme, which is they get enough dirt on all the superheroes and also reveal their identities. They more or less spend all this time after the events of Secret Wars, and also how they got back is essentially when, because this is taking place when the Fantastic Four come back, when Reed and Sue and their kids bounced back to the Marvel Universe finally, they were like, oh, we found a way in, so they piggybacked, everyone in Gravity Falls piggybacked on Reed and Sue coming back to that universe, to the 616 universe, and escaped, and Gravity Falls was just put in the middle of where it would be in the 616 universe. So it's out in the middle of nowhere, and everyone's like, okay, now we're gonna fuck some shit up. And that's what they do. But they're not like, oh, because they realize we took on Bill, but we beat him because we knew what he was like. However, we're gonna do this a little smarter because there's a lot of heroes, and a lot of them are really powerful. So they essentially spend almost like, they spend months secretly digging up dirt and following around the superheroes and finding their identities, and when the moment's right, they reveal everything to the public. They reveal what happened with the Illuminati, they revealed what happened, because people should be justifiably pissed off what happened with Hulk and Civil War, but now people are like, you motherfuckers, you caused intergalactic genocide, essentially. And a lot of you guys are fucked in the head. And now, everyone knows your identity, like Spider-Man, you're Peter Parker. Everyone has these public identities now, that are way out there, and the villains are like, thanks! So the other thing is that it turns out that Dipper is kind of, is working along with someone, in that it's Bill. You see, when Bill was dying, or about to be killed by Stan, he used that I Shall Return spell he conjured right before his death, and actually put a shred of his consciousness into Dipper's mind. And it's been slowly moving into the forefront like a parasite. But he's not strong enough to overtake his body. It's more like, hey, I'm going to whisper all these ideas into you, and this is how we're going to... You want revenge on this universe, right? Well, I wanted to tear apart the universe, so maybe we can meet in the middle and fuck these people's lives over. And by God, that's what they do. So yeah, so more or less, it's, like I said, it's Watchmen for Marvel. Doomsday Clock for Marvel. That was my thoughts with it. But there are a lot of things there was a lot of stuff in here I wanted to talk about, but I didn't want to make this too long a video. Yeah, I didn't want to make this too long of a video for you guys to watch through. So you guys tell me, what do you guys think of this story, Chaos Theory? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? What would you do with Gravity Falls in the Marvel Universe? And would you make them good guys, bad guys? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.